Well, hi everybody out there. Today's Lesbians on Life has a really different format, but I have to show you guys. Can't see it. My new swatch. Totally excited about it. Makes me feel like I'm in junior high again. But this one is for all the parents out there, or anyone raising a child, because it is not for the faint of heart. And had an episode recently where basically 20 years of parenting got crammed into 7 minutes. Sitting on a Zoom, taking a call, leading a call of about 20 people, and I see my son's number come in. He is 19, driving from California to New York with a buddy to go back to school. I didn't expect to hear from him because it's 10 in the morning and he usually was checking in when the day was done. So I put my Zoom on hold for a second. I answered the call and I was like, hey, I'm on a Zoom. Is this important? And I hear, don't panic, I'm in the back of a police car. So I quickly end my Zoom and say what's going on. And I learned he was pulled over for speeding. The roommate was driving and they were going 72 in a 70. And I think as a parent, this isn't making sense, but maybe. He doesn't lie. He does a lot of things. He's an asshole. He's kind of arrogant, but he doesn't lie. And so I tell him, put me on speaker, put the phone in your lap. I want to hear everything that's going on. And you don't need to tell the cops I'm on the phone. I'm going to be quiet when they come talk to you, but what the hell's going on? And he's like, what I hear is, Mom, I'm really scared. And I hear panic in his voice. I'm in California. He's somewhere in Wyoming. I don't know where. I'm getting on my phone, looking at like the find of my friends on my iPhone, trying to figure out how to use it to see where the hell he's at. So if he gets taken away in some kind of Breaking Bad episode gone wrong, I know where to start looking for him. He says they got pulled over for speeding, but the dogs found drugs in the car. And so now he's in one police car, his roommate's in the other, and he's freaking out. So what I want to do is freak out, find a helicopter and get there right away, but I can't. So what I do is do something I never thought I'd do, and I act calm. I am not a calm person and I am not a calm parent. And I tell him, remember the breathing, take 3 deep breaths, let's do it together. And we breathe. And I say, okay, now tell me what happened. And he said that they got pulled over for speeding. The dogs smelled drugs in the car and they're in the police car and he knows nothing else. And they're currently going through his vehicle. He's in a truck my brother was kind enough to give him 4 months prior. My brother's fantastic with cars and really creative. So there's that. My kid's a surfer. So I know there is surf paraphernalia always thrown in and out of his car from some of the surf shops. So what I say is to my son, at this point, you're not in trouble. I just need to know, what do you have in the car? What drugs are in this? And he says, there's none, Mom, I promise. He's like, I don't do drugs. I don't drink, I don't do drugs. There are none in the car. And I said, well, does your roommate have drugs in the car? And he goes, I don't think so, but he was in Colorado and he has some brownies. So I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, well, let's just walk through this. I said, I'm right here. I've got you. You're fine. And he can't see my face. It is not fine. If you guys know me and you've heard someone else say this, I've never been fine a day in my life. I'm always in some sort of feeling, and fine is not one of them. I'm texting my wife going, oh shit, here's what's going on. It's under control for the moment. I'm texting my former husband saying, here's what's going on. Like, you know, keeping them in the loop. And so the son tells me, you know, he goes, oh no, the cop's coming. And I said, don't say anything. Turn your phone over if you can. He's not handcuffed. And let's talk. The cop says, son, I want to know what's in the back of your truck. There's something underneath. It's a tank of something. What are you transporting across state lines? And my kid says, in this like scaredest voice, he's like, officer, it's nothing. My uncle gave me this truck and my uncle's really cool. And he put an air tank in there. It's a compressor. So if I have flat tires in the middle of nowhere, I can fill up my tanks and my tires and my tanks and my tires. And I'm thinking, breathe, you've got this. And I hear him take a breath. I didn't even say it. And then the cop says, wow, you've got a cool uncle. I'll be back. So my shoulders immediately drop because this cop sounds okay to me. And so I tell my son, I'm like, hey, I'm feeling better about this. And so I think we're good. And he goes, they found the brownies. They're going over to the other car. I'm like, tell me what goes on. And he goes, they're talking and looking at the brownies. Now they're all eating them and laughing. I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound like a pot brownie, at least since they're eating them in front of you. I think you're good. And he's like, okay, what's gonna happen? Am I going to jail? I'm like, and I wanted to say, you're not going to jail. But the truth is, I don't know. I have no idea. And I said to him, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're gonna walk through it together. And your mom and your dad are both, your other mom and your dad, I'm texting them. You've got all kinds of people supporting both of you and the roommate from afar. You're gonna be fine. And whatever it is, we're with you. And he's like, okay. And so then the cop comes back and says, he's holding a license plate. My son says, he goes, oh no, he found the license plate that you bought in Chinatown for me to hang on my wall. And I did, like just days earlier. My son is an idiot and for whatever reason named his truck Turk. And he said Turk is a truck that would live in Wyoming if Wyoming were a real state. I'm not sure I understand the joke of that, but that was it. So the cop says, and when I found the license plate, I have to buy it, right? There's just no accident. So the cop says, son, you're from California, going to New York to live, but you've got a license plate from Wyoming. Where'd you steal it from? And he goes, officer, no, I don't think my mom stole it. She doesn't steal, I don't think. She bought it in Chinatown. And see, she found it because it's Wyoming. And I told her Wyoming wasn't a real state. And it says Turk, and you wouldn't believe it, but that's the name of my truck. If you don't believe me, go ask my roommate, what's the name of the truck? She found it for me to hang on the wall. And the cop says, huh, your mom found a license plate in Chinatown in San Francisco named Turk for the name of your truck without trying to find this. And he's like, I think so. My mom wanders into crazy ass shit if you don't mind my saying so. So he said, okay, as long as you don't use it and you hang it on your wall, we're good. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, drop your shoulders. You're doing great. And I'm like, and you're being really respectful. I love it. This is the way it should go. And I'm like, what's the cop doing now? He goes, they're still going through all of our stuff. And he's like, oh no, he's coming back. So I hear the cop come back and he's like, son, why do you have a sachet full of very sharp knives in your truck? And I'm thinking, don't yell in case I need to bury the bodies and do something with them as a joke, because my son sometimes does stuff like that and thinks it's funny. And I'm like, please remember what I've said about knowing your audience. Please remember knowing your audience. And he says, I'm a chef. I'm going to the Culinary Institute of America. Those are my knives. I'm driving back to New York to go to that school. And the officer says, good for you. I hope you make it big one day. And walks off again. And I'm like, I think this is going really well. And then I hear him say, Mom, he goes, he's coming back. What do I do? And I'm like, he's like, I think I'm getting out of the car. I'm like, put the phone in your pocket. Don't hang up. I just want to hear everything. And so I hear like the commotion of a lot of walking and such. I hear the two officers talking to both boys. And I hear the officer say, my dog got a hit on your truck. Explain why. We can't find drugs anywhere on anything. And I hear both boys say, we don't know, officer, we don't do drugs. Can't explain it. What you have to understand is my brother who gave him the truck is an Iron Man. He's anti-drugs. He's anti-anything in his body that's not going to better it. So there's no way my brother had drugs in the car. And we still, like to this day, don't know what it was. But the officers say, okay, boys, you can go, but slow it down. And you know, I hear my son say he's going to start putting stuff back in the truck because apparently it's scattered all over Highway 80 in Wyoming. And so they're doing that. And then the other boy, I hear him talking to the cop. Now this boy, I love this boy. I'd keep him as my own if I could, but he is New Jersey through and through. And every other word out of this kid's mouth is, fuck you, you goddamn son of a bitch. You know, that's this kid, you know. It's just who he is. It's how he stands in his bones. It's not insulting. And I'm thinking, this is not the time to mouth off. This is not the time to mouth off. And the officer starts talking to him. And I guess he had climbed back in the truck to drive, and my son had put his phone in there. I'm still listening to everything. And then my kid's loading his truck back up, and the cop's telling the roommate, slow down, be good. And the roommate says, yes, sir, officer. We probably will not even go the speed limit for the rest of this trip. We're very freaked out and we're very scared, but we won't do that. But we didn't do anything wrong short of speeding. And the officer bids him goodbye. And I hear silence and some, you know, noise in the truck, just probably, you know, seatbelts coming on and whatever. And so I say, well done, you know, to the roommate. And I'm like, I'm so proud of how you handled it. Him not knowing I'm on the phone, he screams, freaks out. I'm like, hey, it's me. I'm like, I've been on the phone with the boy, walking him through this for the past 10 minutes. I've heard everything. And I hear, oh shit, motherfucker, shit, I was so goddamn scared. I thought I was gonna piss myself. Maybe I did, I don't know. And I'm like, hey, take some breaths. You guys did great. Good job. It was a scary situation. Any of us would have been freaked out. And, you know, my kid gets back in the car. I tell them both, you know, in tandem, so proud of both of you. You guys did awesome. And just slow it down. You didn't do anything wrong. Good job handling a situation that most adults would have freaked out about. And so what I saw was that some of the parenting I've done over the past 19 years, and I have messed up so much, way more than I do right, but something sunk because I was the first phone call, which is so shocking. But he called mom, which that's like, you know, a good thing, and he listened. You know, and all of the skills I taught him that I would wonder if he'd use in this situation, he did. And so it's like such a parenting win. So hats off to the boys. And I'm like, you know, cheers to 3 more days of an uneventful trip. And that's it. Until that night when I got a call explaining the tornado that was out their window that they were seeing. And we walked through that together too. But crazy enough. So I think the moral is your kids are listening, even if we think they're not, they are. So hats off to all of us. Parenting, not for the faint of heart, but let's do it together. Brooklyn, Lesbians on Life, out.